What's going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in. I want to talk about Omari Hardwick. He did an interview with the cast of the Pivot podcast. Okay, he was on there and he spoke about how when he was on Power television show, I believe this right around the time he started, how he wasn't earning enough to really support himself. He went through a rough time and he had to borrow from 50 Cent. He had to borrow from him. Now, we've seen where guys have talked about borrowing money from 50 Cent and having to pay him back. You would think that was just a meme, right? But that may have been reality. That may have been reality of a lot of these guys. Man, a lot of these guys were actors who were still trying to find their footing in Hollywood. And Amari may have been one of those. You know, now you're seeing him get an increase of roles. I've seen him on a various amounts of programs. But Amari is a talented actor. And he's also a poet. I even heard him on a song a while back. So the thing with Amari is this. He represents the story of a guy that had to work very hard to get to where he is and wants people to understand his journey, because we all see the character of him in Power, but they don't see how he got there and where he was financially. Okay, and a lot of these actors go through this when they first start out. But it may have been rough for him, but let's get into this article here from Complex. There's Amari Hardwick on earning $150,000 per episode on Power, having to borrow money from 50 Cent. Omari Hardwick has revealed how much money he made as the lead role on Power and said he had to borrow cash from producer 50 Cent twice during his time on the show. Around the 40-minute point of his appearance on the Pivot podcast, embedded above, Hardwick said he didn't feel all that successful until he landed the Starz series. Asked by co-host Shannon Crowder when he started to feel comfortable financially, he explained, "He's not earning what he should. I still haven't made what I should have made. I still never made the money. No, the money, I never made what I should have made. Never," Hardwick said, period. "It's happening now, finally. He's only felt he made it after Power," and joked that he earned $5 from all the movies he appeared in before. He then opened up about owing 50 Cent some money, which he previously touched on in 2019 on the Angie Martinez show. Listen, man, a lot of these guys do struggle in Hollywood. It is a tough road to get into that business. And even if you've seen Amari in projects before, they don't earn a lot of money from it. They don't. Look at all these popular reality TV shows. They don't make a lot of money from those shows until years later, until the show has become extremely popular. Then they start to demand more money. But with Starz, I don't know if they had the budget like that, but they were able to greenlight this show with 50 Cent. And I could see what he's talking about, because I seen him in recently in Army of the Dead. I saw him in another Netflix film. So he's probably demanding more money now for his talent than he could before Power, right? Because that show was able to become a hit. He was able to financially capitalize on it, which is good for him. Now, again, with the borrowing money from 50 Cent, I thought that was just a meme, but those guys actually work. Now, I don't know if 50 Cent had an open door policy about borrowing money, you know, because all these people were borrowing money from 50, right? What we've seen. But this is the reality of entertainment, especially black male entertainers in the industry. They probably would tell you the same story, how they struggle until they were able to get on a popular show and find their footing and be able to demand more money. It's a marathon, not a sprint, man. It really is. A lot of these guys be on these popular shows when they're not making as much as you think they're making. And Amari, he's spoken about this before, but for him to speak on it, you could tell it was something that may have been a bother to him, that he was on this popular show, but he wasn't making the money he thought he would make. Now, people say, well, you're making $150,000 per episode. why, complain? There are other people who are making less. Well, you got to understand this. He has a family, right? He definitely has bills. He's probably living in Hollywood. I'm not really particular. He might be living in either New York or Los Angeles. I'm not sure. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, or correct me on where he stays. But that cost of living is very high. It is. So you may think that he's getting, and we don't know when he's getting that money. He may only get paid once the show airs. So he may film it, and after a certain amount of time, then the show airs, and that's when he gets those checks. So we're not really sure when he's getting paid. I think he forever just really, really respects the shit out of me for that. We just not taught that in our community. Omari shared barely do we pay anybody back. That is true. That is true. I know we all have family members or even friends that we've loaned money to and they never pay us back. They say, I'm going to pay you when I get my tax return, and you never see them when they get their tax return. When I get my school money, I'm going to pay you back. When they get their school money, they never pay you back. He suggested the pivot host. We all have passed in the NFL, have likely had similar experiences with people asking to borrow money. So once we're hit up for money, and I am financially obviously stable at this point, once we're hit up for money, we don't expect it back. So for me to give it back to 50 with interest, I was just so proud to be able to do that. And it was early, and he felt like, damn, you can't be messed up. You can't be messed up. You need money. See, that's the problem. I think that's why we don't have trust in each other. I think a lot of times we don't have trust in each other because we don't pay each other back. We borrow money from people, and we don't pay it back. We don't respect each other. I think and especially in the black community, we don't have respect for each other like that to the point to where we're willing to borrow money and pay it back. We just don't. Enough to say we want to be able to show that us as men can be responsible. It's also interesting about Amari that he played college sports. He wanted to play in the NFL. That didn't work out for him. So he got into acting. He took that road. It was a tough road. It took him a while to really get noticed like that. And that's the road of anything. It shows our character and what we're willing to go through in order to fulfill the dreams that we have. Hardwick revealed that he borrowed the money from Fifth in the summers after the first and second season. He gave me $20,000, and the next summer he gave me $23,000. He said, noting Fifth obliged in part because he adores wife Jennifer Jaye Hardwick and the couple's kids. He might like them more than me. He obviously given in a way of take care of the family, bro. Use that. He said that ultimately he never got the salary he wanted on Power, even by his sixth and final season. How much do you think I made a week? An episode, he asked the host, with one estimating around $150,000 per episode. You got it right. Yeah, he replied. First time I've ever disclosed it. So he's, he's saying, hey, I know, listen, he's not taking a shot at 50 or Starz, but he probably feels like, throughout that whole run, we should have been able to make more money. And what's interesting is that I've seen shows that become popular after the first or second year. Those actors do get a raise. They're able to negotiate a raise. I don't know how their contracts are, but once a show is a hit, a lot of those actors say, hey, I want more money. Now, I don't know if Amari asked for more, or maybe he had a contract to where this is what he's getting paid no matter what. I'm not sure, but for him to go all those seasons and for him to only make only the North just right at about $150,000 per episode, as popular as this show had become with all these other shows that been able to spring from this one, I don't know, man. That's tough. It really is. But he got through it. he got through it, and now his career is going in the direction that he wants it financially. Hardwick got his big acting break when he was cast as James Ghost St. Patrick in Power in 2014. He had a few movie and TV credits to his name, but his career strengthened since then. In the recent years, he appeared in Sorry to Bother You, Army of the Dead, and Nobody's Fool. As for TV side of things, he acted alongside Toni Collette in the Netflix thriller Pieces of Her, and in his forthcoming animated Army of the Dead spinoff, Las Vegas. So he seems to be doing all right for himself right now. And that's good, because he seemed like a good dude, and he seemed like somebody that's worked extremely hard to get to where he is. So that's just my thoughts. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll see y'all next one.